Okay, we're going to keep moving on in section 3.3, and we're moving on to one more weighted mean. And this one always cracks me up because I get a lot of students that don't know how to calculate a weighted mean, and yet your grades are based on weighted means all the time in classes. So it's a good thing to know how to find it. So we're going to find it with Excel right here. So I've got John wants to know his grade in his class. There are 3 exams worth 15% each, a final worth 25%, and homework worth 30%. He's received 81%, 77%, and 65% on his tests, and his homework percentage is 84.6. If John gets a 78% on the final, calculate his grade in the class. This is the grading scale. We'll worry about that later. Okay, so what I did was, let's see here, I went and made up a new example, 3.3 example 3, and all I did was I typed up my assignments, what the scores were for those assignments, and what the weights were. Okay, and like most things, I'm going to find the sum, and I'm just labeling for myself, and then I'm going to find the sum product. Right, so those are the 2 things I want. Okay, so sum equals sum of those numbers. Oh, by the way, just in case you're running around, if you're on the home screen, see over here on the far right, auto sum. If you just click that, it just automatically knows what you want to do. Do you want to sum this column? You can press enter. There you go. Or you could type it. And the sum product, remember, is equal to sum product. It sounds like something from Charlotte's Web. That's sum product. That's sum pig. All right. So array number 1 right here, comma, and then array number 2. Don't get the sum in there. You only want the actual numbers from the data set. Close parentheses, enter. Oh, I did this wrong. He got a 78 on the final, right? There we go. All right, so his mean, oh my goodness, his mean would be, remember this is the numerator divided by, that's the denominator. And of course, if you want to reverse that order and flip-flop it, feel free. All right, so this is the answer to A right here. I'm going to make it orange. There we go. He'd have a 78.33, right, which would be a 2.5. All right, now we're going to do it again. If he hasn't taken his final yet, what's the highest grade he could receive? What's the lowest grade he could receive? Good question. All right, so I'm going to be lazy. Would you like to be lazy with me? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of this work that I did, assignments and everything, all of it. I highlighted it all by clicking with my left mouse button, dragging around, right? So it's all highlighted, lift up on my left mouse button. And I'm going to copy. So you can go up here to copy, or I just hit Control and C. And I'm going to go over here to the right. I'm going to Control V or right click and then paste. And I'm going to do it again. Paste. All right, now what am I doing? This is going to be the highest. Okay, that's what we're going to find here. Now, how am I going to do that? Well, the highest he could possibly do would be to get 100 on that final. If you copy and paste and just type in 100, and of course if you used cell referencing like I did here, then it'll work out perfectly and you'll be able to see what his grade would be. So that's the highest grade he could get. I'm going to give it green for go because it's so high. Now what about the lowest? Well, the lowest he could get is 0, right? Completely bomb the final, barely, not even take it, to be honest. And if that's the case, then this would be B lowest. And then the mean would be 58.33, and I'm going to give that, I don't know, red. So let me go to my bucket. There we go. It's very Christmassy. Lowest and highest. There we go. So, you know what, and I'm just going to make my life easier here. That highest grade is a 3.0. The lowest grade is a, oh, I better not. Yeah, it doesn't like the 3.0 thing. It just wants to make it 3, which I suppose is fine, but I want it to look nice. So, oops, you don't need to see my calendar. It's really not, it's boring. There's nothing in there except classes. All right, so there we go. So the highest would be a 2 or 3, excuse me, a 3.0, I think. Isn't that a 83.8? Yep, 3.0. Just barely, almost to that other mark. And let me go over here. The lowest would be a 0.0, 58.8. Yep, 0.0. So there you go. Cool. All right, what is the minimum grade John would need to get in order to get a 3-point in the class? Well, you can do that a lot of ways. I mean, one thing you can do is copy and paste it again. I guess I'll just put it over here to the right. Okay, so you can fiddle around in here, kind of change your grades up until you get it to be, what do you need? You need a 3.0. A 3.0, the lowest grade is an 80% right there. So you can just kind of sit in here and fiddle around with it until you get what you want. So 85, oop, there you go, 85 looks good. 84 is too low. 85, well, oopsie. Now I'm really messing up. Here we go, 85. Cool. So there you have it. So that's C, the minimum. Yes, there's an actual algebra way to do it if you're interested. Hold on. So actually what they really wanted to know was this part, right? So they'd have to get a final exam score of 85%. All right, 85% is the lowest exam score that will ensure a 3.0 in the class. Now, how could you have gotten that another way? Well, let me go here. Okay, so remember that you want your sums. Let me do this. Okay, so when we find this, it's a big fraction, right? And on the bottom you had what your weights added up to. Hold on, it'll help me if I have this to look at. Okay, so you have your weights, which was 15 plus 15 plus 15 plus 30 plus 25, right? That's your denominator. And your numerator, if you're doing a weighted mean, you go 81 times 15, right? And then plus 77 times 15, and so on. Hold on, I'll type this up, 1 sec. All right, so you have all of these things, right? All of them you know, except for this guy right here, X. That's the score for the final exam. And this is just the formula for weighted mean, right? I just plugged in X, the weight, X, the weight, X, the weight, and so on, until this guy, which I didn't know. And I know that I want it to be greater than or equal to, there it is, 80, right? Because 80%. Okay, well, what does this make altogether? The numerator, see, the denominator makes 100. Okay, the numerator makes 5883, I think, plus 25x. Okay, and you want that to be greater than or equal to 80. It's algebra, right? So you multiply both sides. Here, I'll do it over here. So you multiply this side by 100. And the reason you're doing that is so that this will cancel with this. So let me see here. I know there's a cancel. Oh, there it is. So this guy and this guy will cancel each other out. But if you do it to that side, of course, you've got to do it to the other side. Okay, so you're going to get 5883 plus 25x is greater than or equal to 8,000. Now you subtract 5883 from both sides. You're going to get 25x is greater than, oopsie, greater than or equal to 2117. Oops. There we go. Again, I'm just here. I'm minusing 5883 from both sides. From over there. Hold on. And from over here. Okay. And that gives me 25x. Then you divide both sides by 25. Right? So divide everything by 25. And you're going to have x is greater than or equal to 84.68, i.e. 85, right? So that's the long way to find it. We found it the quick way using Excel to kind of make our lives a whole lot simpler. But if you want to find it with algebra, so I'll just write algebraic solution. That's how to do it, okay? So we found it this way with Excel. Now, it's good to know both ways because you never know. I mean, you might get a problem that just is impossible to do, you know, the shorthand way, and you've got to figure it out the longhand way or whatever. And it's nice to see an algebra problem every once in a while. But this particular one would have worked out a-okay just with this, right? Cool. All right, we're done with finding weighted means. We're going to come back for the last part of 3.3, which is just how to find grouped data means. So how to find the mean, the variance, and standard deviation when the data is grouped into a table like this, i.e. it's continuous data. All right, I will see you back here for that video. See you then.